Hi, my name is Emily, and we are doing the top 10, or I guess top 5, for both Arrowverse and Psych. We are doing the top 5 Psych guest stars, and Marissa will be doing the top 5 villains of the Arrowverse. So do you want to start, Marissa?
Sure. Okay. I have number 5 as Rain on Supergirl. I loved watching that character develop. I loved the split personality type situation. It was very Enigma to me. I am a big Riddler fan, so to see a female version kind of like that was really cool. I loved the little culty sister witch moment that she got to have with Purity and Pestilence. I thought that was really cool because I'm a big fan of that kind of old world dark magic meets modern villain type situation. So she's my number 5.
Now, I loved Rain. I remember watching Supergirl, and I loved Rain. I think for me, I guess this might sound odd for those of you that haven't seen Psych, but my 5th guest star is Kurt Smith as Kurt Smith.
What?
He shows up. Yes, he shows up every now and again. He sings some of his songs. And he's like, he's hilarious. The first episode he's in, it's like this really rich dude has like hired him to work a party, but then they were like, stay the weekend. So he's just like singing songs. And then like, according to what some people say, he starts singing the song by what they say. And he's like, Kurt, what did I tell you about going off what people say? It's so funny. And then sometimes he just shows up in later seasons. It's pretty hilarious, but yeah.
That's awesome. Mm-hmm. My number 4 is Captain Cold. I mean, first of all,
yes.
If you don't like Captain Cold, just get away from me. I loved him in his evil form and his quote unquote good form. I love him with Rory, and I don't know. It's just the perfect amount of dry, sarcastic humor with a touch of evil. And I just think that is like a classic comic villain trope, and I think he does it perfectly.
And number 4 would be Tim Curry as Nigel St. Nigel. And it's so funny. It's in the yes. Anytime Tim Curry is on screen. It's in the 2nd season premiere of Psych, and it's the episode called American Duos. And Sean and Gus, in order to figure out who's trying to kill Tim Curry's character, they go on this American Idol-esque show to try and save this Simon Cowell type guy. And I think it's hilarious. There's so many bits, and Tim Curry is just a gem in everything he does. So.
My number 3 is Alice. I think that she is an incredible villain for Batwoman. I'm going to just say right now, spoiler alert, if you have not watched Batwoman, you need to probably speed through what I'm about to say. She's a psycho. She's an absolute psycho. She will slit your throat for nothing, for no reason, just because it seems like fun that day. I loved that they gave this character to Batwoman who is family. I loved that the thing with Batwoman and Batman is that they have had injustices done in their family, and that is something that really drives their character. So to have this villain be a part of her family was like perfect for me. I also love that they show with Alice how these psychotic villains actually most of the time go through some sort of very traumatic event and have a lot of PTSD, and they basically talk about mental health through her character. So I also appreciate her for that.
So my 3rd guest star is Jimmy Simpson as Mary Lightly. And he's just a character that comes in during like the serial killer episodes, specifically the serial killer Mr. Yang, because he's like this like weird guy that's just like, I know everything about this serial killer. And sometimes Sean and Gus are like, is he the serial killer? Like, are we sure? But he's just a weird kind of like fanatic about the serial killer, and so like he always adds something interesting, and even in later seasons when like racquetball is the thing, because when they finally catch the killer and he's like, what do I do now? And they're like, try racquetball. And it's like, okay. It's pretty good. He's a very interesting character.
My number 2 is Harrison Wells as Reverse Flash. Yes. This particular villain for the Flash team and that, Earth, I mean, it threw everyone for a loop. No one saw that coming. And on top of that, I just want to say that Tom Cavanaugh has played like 25 different Wells characters and has completely done an amazing job with every single one of them. But that one in particular, I felt like Harrison Wells as Reverse Flash was one of those characters that's just insidious. He just, I mean, that felt like such a betrayal so deeply that I can't say, if someone said that they weren't if he wasn't on the top 5 for their villain list for the Arrowverse, I would just be like, why? Like, that was one of the biggest, most personal betrayals of the entire universe, in my opinion.
We're down to 2. Oh my gosh. Yeah. So my second one is Ali Sheedy, who plays Mr. Yang. And it feels like such a twist that this big serial killer, and I don't want to spoil it for anybody. I feel like I already have. But this big serial killer is a woman. And it's so interesting, and because like even when they catch her, they bring her back and they ask her about other serial killers, and it's really interesting to have her involved. And it's the Yang episodes, the Yin Yang episodes, are the best episodes of Psych. And she really adds so much to the show, and also changes the main characters a lot too, because they have to learn how to actually, like, this is serious. It's back in the other episodes, back in what we were talking about earlier, is like, it's not a serious show, but the moments where it is serious, they hit different. And and Mr. Yang, and Mr. Yang is one of those moments where it's like, oh, literally, if we don't catch this person, then someone's gonna die like in an hour. Like,
there's no if they will.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And she adds so much. She adds this crazy and creepy, over the top humor. She's so brilliant. And if anybody doesn't know who Ali Sheedy is, she was in The Breakfast Club, number 1.
Number 1. Malcolm Merlyn. 100% my number 1. First of all, if you don't like John Barrowman, get away from me.
Get out of here. Yeah. Another Doctor Who person.
Yeah, Captain Jack for life, always.
Wow.
Yes. The thing about him that I love is that I do know this about the comics. I haven't read all of the DC comics that have to do with the Arrowverse, but I do know that he's considered the Dark Arrow. And I love that they had that included in the show, where it's like, we have the good, we have the bad, and on top of that, this is a person who's really connected to Oliver Queen himself, and then, further on in the show, we find out that he's Thea's father, and how Malcolm looks at family. He cares deeply for family, but he has this really twisted sense of how to take care of people. And he has a really twisted sense of like how to make the world better. Mm-hmm. And I think because of that, because of all the interminglings, it makes his character as a villain just have a lot of depth. I was super happy that he was a part of the show.
Okay, so my favorite guest star on Psych is Kerry Ellis as Pierre Despereau. And if you know anything about Kerry Ellis, you'll know him from The Princess Bride and other like 80s stuff. Like so brilliant. He's that character that's kind of with them, but also kind of against them. And in later seasons, you learn more about him. He's this art thief that they have to try and catch in Canada. And the whole thing about it is that it's a perfect crime. And so he's this charismatic British like art thief that they're like, that Sean is kind of like in love with, but also like gotta catch you. Like, even sometimes when they're like, you killed a guy, dude. Like, why would you do that? I believed in you. And he's like, I didn't do that. Mm-hmm. Well, you've been watching the Fanatics and the Fan top 5, not top 10, with me and Marissa. Hope you guys are having a good COVID-19 day.
Yeah, no kidding.
Have fun, guys. Bye.
Bye.